Hey guys! So today in our chart, we have some indications that are kind of suggesting to me that we may be sort of up against our own programming in one way or another. There's some very reflective, internally reflective energy that is being presented today, both numerologically and in terms of our astrology as well. And we have a moon in Sagittarius, which could bring some very big and expansive and overblown emotions, but it's also forming a square to Neptune, which could bring up some big, expansive personal delusions or emotional delusions that we may be operating under in one way or another. There's sort of two distinct octaves that I'm seeing the energy play out today. On one hand, we may just be very, very much so in alignment with our faith and our spiritual work and sort of surrendering to the divine in terms of how the changes in our lives are taking place right now. On the other hand, we may be sort of realizing some very deep changes that are going on within us, but those changes sort of being at odds with our subconscious programming, and therefore an aspect of our psyche sort of rejecting them and causing us to sort of hide from reality, evade reality, escape reality, or view our current reality through a more idealized or rose-colored glass lens type of situation. So lots of energy that we have to talk about today to start our week as we are building energetically all week towards a full moon that we have coming up later this week. So let's get into the report today, you guys, and just talk about how all this is playing out for us. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Today is Monday, July 11th, 2022. My name is Aubrey, and this is your astrological outlook of the day. If you guys stick with me till the end of the report, I am going to be talking about some tarot cards that came out in correspondence to the astrology we have playing out today as well, just to give us sort of like a more overall, well-rounded, holistic view of the energy that is being disseminated today from a couple different perspectives. But let's get into the astrology first, which actually we're going to start with a little bit of numerology because of the way that the numerology is playing out today. Today is, of course, Monday, July 11th, 2022. So we're looking at 7/11/22 in terms of our date numerology today. And of course, 11 and 22, these are both very reflective numbers. They're mirroring numbers. And so just on the surface today, the numerology is telling me that today is going to be sort of a more reflective day. Like I was saying in my intro, where we are sort of reflecting upon what's going on inside of us. And I'm saying what's going on inside of us because we also have the moon making an aspect today that is sort of doing the same thing. So we have this numerology that is present that is definitely talking about some type of reflection that is going on, some type of mirroring that is going on. And then we're talking about the moon in Sagittarius, late degrees of Sagittarius. And the moon in Sag is going to be forming an opposition to Venus in the sign of Gemini. Of course, Gemini also ruling reflections, also ruling polarity, also ruling mirroring and pairs and all that type of stuff. And Venus, this is our wants, this is our true desires, like the true desires of our heart, especially in terms of what we value and how we want to relate with others. And we're talking about also the moon ruling our emotions, our internal world, what's going on inside of us, like our soul's urge, our soul's like calling and stuff like that. And so we're talking about this numerology today that is present, this reflective day energy. And then we're also talking about having an opposition, which is an aspect of reflection. When two planets are opposite each other, they are reflecting on and mirroring off one another. We're talking about the moon. This is our internal world, our emotions, our soul, our feelings, our intuition as well. And we're talking about Venus, what we truly want and what we truly desire in the sign of Gemini. And so this is very much also representing the state of internalized reflection upon, though, what we really desire. And in the sign of Gemini, like what new choice, what new option, what alternative, like what is it that we are really starting to understand that we want and that we value and that we wish to experience in terms of the relationship components of our lives going forward at this point in time. And this is sort of what this day is showing us. It is causing us to be in this state of reflection upon what our soul truly wants and desires moving forward down this path that we are going on right now as we are on this trajectory into the age of Aquarius. And we are all really undergoing these radical shifts and transformations on a vibrational energetic level within us to prepare us for this new energy that we are moving into now, which requires us to be in a state of radical authenticity so that we can activate our destiny essentially and rise into our highest potential and turn on our gifts and our talents and our abilities so that we can create this life that is a reflection of our soul's true purpose and what we came here for, which is the way that we attain a true sense of purpose and a true sense of fulfillment in alignment with, our version of heaven on earth essentially. What can really fill up our soul and our heart based on what we are doing with ourselves, what we are activating within us, and what we are serving also the greater good of humanity heading into this age of Aquarius. So we're in a process right now of reacquainting ourselves with those things, heading down those paths. In order to do that, we really need to get reacquainted with what it is that we truly, truly desire on this soul level. But this is sort of where the problems arise for us today, because while this may be sort of like the goal or the underlying goal of the energy that's present today, just because of where a lot of us may be in our awakening process right now, this may actually have sort of like a contradictory effect in terms of the way that it's manifesting in our like personal experiences, okay? Now, let's remember we are dealing with a moon in Sagittarius today. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and so Jupiter actually is sort of like the ruler of the day, and this is a moon in Sag. This is always going to be an expansive emotional energy because Jupiter, Sagittarius, this is a sign of expansion, of supersizing things. And so when we have the moon, our emotions, also our intuition though, in the sign of Sagittarius, this is creating, a much greater tendency for some very like big, expansive emotions that we have going on. And another thing, we have Jupiter, and this is going to be relevant throughout the course of the report today, at 9 degrees of Aries right now. That Sabian symbol is a seer gazes intently into a crystal ball in front of them. So this is telling us, you guys, that really, regardless of what is playing out today or how this energy may be affecting us, there is a very strong opportunity for us to really be in alignment with our intuition today, really trust our intuition, or to seek some type of spiritual guidance, especially about issues relating to home and family. This is also bringing up some major themes of needing to have some trust and some faith today in our connection to spirit, our connection to the divine, and the trajectory of our path essentially at this point in time. Jupiter at 9 degrees of Aries today, just to sort of like set the stage for how all of this other energy is playing out, is definitely telling us that there is a strong ability to connect with the divine today, to seek spiritual guidance in relation to our path ahead, and that we really should be aligning with our faith today and the vision of that trajectory. There's a lot of energy today that is available to help us sort of get in alignment with the path that is unfolding before us at this point in time. Now, this moon, like I said, is also forming the opposition to Venus in the sign of Gemini. And so this moon in Sagittarius, expansive emotions opposite Venus and Gemini, this is probably creating a very expansive desire to relate and to relate with and to connect to other people as this transit is playing out, and likely for the better or for the worse. We also have a square going on today between the moon in Sagittarius and Neptune in the sign of Pisces. So we want to be very careful today, you guys, not to sort of bypass our better judgment because of perhaps like a very expansive or overwhelming emotional desire to relate and to connect to others today. We may be willing to sort of accept less than we deserve or to surrender to a status quo in order to meet our needs for emotional connection today. We may be sort of over idealizing people, over idealizing relationships because of this perhaps overwhelming desire to gain a sense of internalized balance, comfort, security through connecting and relating with others, or a desire to do so. This could be very much bringing up some too good to be true type of energy, sort of like beer goggle energy, where we are seeing things and specifically people as a bit maybe like better in various ways than they actually are for us in this energy today. And it could definitely be bringing up some clouded judgment and fantasy over reality. Like, we may be sort of more emotionally and cognitively, with Mercury and Cancer as well, in alignment with our feelings today, which are sort of edging more towards the fantasy over wanting to really face the reality of things today. A strong, strong desire to avoid reality with the square going on between the moon in Sagittarius, ruling truth, and Neptune in Pisces, ruling illusion. So this is sort of where, I guess I said that a few minutes ago, but this is sort of where this like inner reflection today could be causing us some problems, where we may be sort of like pitted up against our own unconscious programming today. Because it's like, on one hand, it's like the experiences that we've been going through, these energetic shifts and changes that we've been going through, may be causing us to sort of realize that something is changing within us, and that might be scaring us a little bit, especially in this energy where we have a very strong desire to just like be accepted and to receive this like emotional comfort through relating to other people today, and feeling like we're in a relationship, or feeling like we're in a solid community or something like that, but knowing deep within us, or having this like very strong urge or feeling that something within us is about to change, and like not wanting to face that, like not wanting to embrace that, like an aspect of our unconscious programming rejecting the changes that are happening within us now, and this producing a lot of projection, a lot of cognitive dissonance, and a lot of like over idealizing, like over fantasizing, and again like sort of leaning more into the fantasy over the reality in terms of just the way that we are perceiving our own emotional well-being today. With the moon in Sagittarius opposite Venus, we have to be very careful as well over sort of like indulging in substances, specifically also with like the Pisces influence so heavy today with the square to Neptune and Pisces, like alcohol and stuff like that, because there can definitely be a tendency to be really like hiding from these truths that we may be internally reflecting on, but really not wanting to accept in one way or another for one reason or another today. People generally might be being a bit delusional about things. It's sort of like you may have been having a conversation with somebody last week about how they are not doing it anymore and they can't take it anymore and this or that given relationship or circumstance, and they're just done with it and they're ready to make a change. And then you talk to them today about the same scenario and they might be like, oh, it's great, everything has changed, we're getting along just fine, everything's going to be fine, we're making all these plans for the future, and you're just like, really? Like, what happened? Because this is what you're telling me now is basically like the whole other end of the spectrum as to what you were telling me about this situation last week. But it's just genuinely, I feel like, because there's just this internalized knowing, and I feel like it's a little bit scary to people today in the energy, and it feels just much safer to sort of like avoid the whole thing and to pretend that everything's fine, and to pretend, there's just no problems with anything at all, and everything's going to be fine, and we're going to make the best of it, and it's going to be great. And that's what we're going to say, and that's how we're going to think about it, and that's how we're going to talk about it. And you hush over there with things that I said in the past about anything, So this is something that we may like experience today in, even dealing with ourselves or dealing with other people as we're navigating. Also, this is kind of like more of that manic energy that I was talking about I think I was talking about it in my July report, where I feel like people, on that same note that I was just talking about, like if universe was bipolar, like this would be a day when people are, or things are just more on that like manic level, because there is this shift happening within us, but a lot of people just trying to like block it out, push it out, pretend that everything's great. In fact, not just great, like better than ever, and on top of the game, on top of the world, and everything's going to be wonderful and everything's fine. Just really sort of denying parts of reality that we may have been more immersed in over this past weekend and the past couple of days. For some people, I really do feel like this could be like a very productive day, because there is such a strong like spiritual influence that is like wrapped up in this day as well. Of course, we have the moon in the sign of Sagittarius. This is a sign ruling our faith and our trust in a higher power, in the divine, in the bigger picture. The moon will also conjunct the galactic center, which is really aligning us with that that cosmic wisdom. And even though we have the square to Neptune and the opposition to Venus going on, this could also be a very beautiful opportunity for us to really like connect to our higher selves, like emotionally connect and relate to our higher selves and to spirit and to God and to the divine and to the faith that we have, like I said, in the trajectory of the path and of the processes unfolding before us now in our own personal awakening, and to really like sort of embrace and surrender to the changes that are happening now instead of being more, perhaps avoidant of them and looking to escape from them and sort of act like everything's fine and everything is just like peachy keen and everything. This is a very, very, very good day for practicing our faith, for disconnecting. I mean, disconnecting with reality is sort of like an overall theme of the day as this energy is playing out with a square to Neptune. But we can do that in a very productive, positive way through actively meditating on and co-creating our future reality, this new path that we're going on, through the acknowledgement of our soul's true desires and really holding them in our mind's eye and emotionally living in that space as we are disconnecting from our current reality today. Seeing what we want our future to look like in our mind's eye and emotionally living there is the best way to use this energy, instead of trying to pretend our current reality that is not serving us is, when we know that it isn't, and then like trying to like drown out our feelings in various ways. Like that's sort of how it's happening today. It's either like we're sort of surrendering to the awakening that's happening now and sort of just like falling back on our faith and escaping into our visions of the future in alignment with God and universe and what we wish to co-create, or we're sort of pretending that what's going on within us isn't happening and that our current state of things is actually way better than we've been thinking that it was been or it has been for however, whatever, So that is like definitely the more positive way that we can use this energy. We don't want to be drowning out our current awakening through people and substances, because that's what could be going on. It's like we may be undergoing this awakening right now, and if it's not something that we are like actively participating in, if it's sort of just like happening to us and we're not aware of it, this can be really, really scary and really, really unsettling. And I understand why people would sort of want to reject the notions that something might be changing within them if it goes against the programming that they have been operating under throughout the duration of their lives, when this is not happening in a way that is like in their conscious control, when people are sort of, and a lot of people are sort of just like at the whim of the transition of ages right now, like as we are moving into the age of Aquarius, just sort of like undergoing these shifts and undergoing these awakenings without having a conscious understanding of what is actually happening. And of course, that can be, very disconcerting, like very uncomfortable. And so we do have to have compassion for people that are caught in this process at this point in time, because really like a paradigm shift is not the easiest thing, and we're all waking up, and everybody's process at this point in time is different. But ultimately, you guys, today is a great day for doing spiritual work, receiving some type of spiritual guidance. A seer gazes into a crystal ball in front of them, specifically in regards to the trajectory of our future at this point in time. Prayer, meditation, journaling, scripting, writing, any type of writing is going to be highly supported today, as well as like music and art with this Venus and Gemini opposition. Venus and Gemini, you guys, like loves to write, loves to communicate. And with the moon there, this is a really good day for getting some things off of our chest, perhaps through writing, or also creative writing, or musical writing, like poetry, anything like that. Very, very supported in the energy. But when we are meditating, when we are praying, when we are scripting, when we are envisioning today, it's very, very supported if we are doing this in a way that is to help bring the true desires of our soul into this reality somehow, or that is like utilizing or tapping into those true desires through whatever creative process we are undergoing today. This is with that Neptune energy, fantasy and fantasizing, like this is not necessarily like a negative energy. There's a lot of really wonderful things that can come through the process of fantasizing, especially co-creating. Like one of the main ways we do that is through holding and living in images within our mind's eye before they're actually here in our tangible reality. But fantasizing. Like, this can create really wonderful stories, like really wonderful, like I said, like poetry or artwork or music or anything creative, stuff like that. Very good use of the energy that we have going on today. And then again, like I said, a lot of people will probably be lost in their own personal delusions of grandeur today. A little bit of this manic energy playing out there, some projections, projecting like, oh, everything's great, everything's just wonderful, everything's fine, forget everything that I ever said in the past about everything. Like, we're going in this direction again and everything is good. But like I said, this whole thing, it's just a part of their process of awakening at this point in time too. Very creative energy, like I said, for channeling inspiration, divine inspiration, and using the emotional energy that is present today or our desire to escape reality in any type of way, really channeling that into some type of creative pursuit can be very, very beneficial in this energy as well. So that is what I have to say, you guys, for our chart, how it is playing out today, the energy that is likely to be present for us, and what we might experience as we are navigating ourselves and other people today. Let's talk about the tarot cards for a second, the cards that came out in correspondence with the astrology that we had going on today. It's really interesting. Like, honestly, I'm reading these cards along the very same lines as what the chart is saying today. It's like everything that we, like these realizations that we have been coming to within ourselves, it's sort of like today we are kind of wanting to just go in another direction, like very quickly get away from them and sort of like not pay attention to perhaps the enlightenment that we may have received for whatever reason over the past few days. But we are heading towards this full moon, you guys, which is going to expose a lot to us. And we are heading towards, at the end of this month, this Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction. And that, whether we want it or not, is going to put us in a place where we really are having... We are making the changes. Like, we're going to be making the changes. We're going to be making the realignments. But today, generally, we may just be trying to hide from that a little bit. And in terms of the cards that came out, we had the King of Wands in reverse. This is talking to me about like being in a state where we are kind of not acknowledging like the truth of our genuine passions, the truth of our genuine self-empowerment. Like, we're not standing in our authority. Like, we're not like having strong boundaries about ourselves. Like, we're not exerting our personal power. Like, we're not like extremely passionate about things. The Page of Pentacles, especially about these new opportunities, or the Page of Pentacles in reverse, sorry, especially about these new opportunities. Like, we're not feeling like, you know, standing in our power and doing what is necessary to go after these new opportunities that we may have discovered or that may have presented themselves to us lately. We are also Five of Cups in reverse, not really wanting to deal with perhaps some difficulties or just some like more negative emotions that we've been maybe navigating. Like, we're wanting to avoid a state of emotional discomfort, of emotional upset, the Five of Cups. And then we had the Knight of Swords. So, you know, we're like rushing very quickly in this direction. And it's funny, you see how this guy, in this picture, he is facing away from all of these three people, all of these three cards. Like, he is like quickly, the Knight of Swords is the fastest knight. Like, he is, and this is the mental energy, like he's quickly heading in the other direction, like away from these realizations perhaps that we may have come to, you know, a need to stand in our power in order to embrace these new opportunities and to release some things from the past and, you know, get out of the state of negative emotions and not be like crying over spilled milk, but ready to go sort of in a new trajectory. And then on the back of the deck, we had the Hangman. So it would be like based on this enlightenment that we've gained, but the Hangman was also in reverse. So this is sort of also to me saying like, because we just don't want to sort of like acknowledge, or we're rejecting this enlightenment that we may have gained throughout the past like couple of weeks, couple of years, whatever the case may be. That's really like what this is saying to me today. And it makes so much sense in terms of the astrology that's coming out as well. But again, the way that we want to sort of flip this vibe and use this energy to benefit us is to really like if we're avoiding the current state of things today, we want to do it in a way that is helping us to actively participate in the co-creation of our future in alignment with what we really want and these shifts and changes that are going on within us at this point in time. We want to embrace our soul's reflection on what it is that we truly desire in this energy today and not deny that because of what it might upset in our world or in terms of like the programming that we've been operating in accordance with throughout the course of our lives. So that's basically what I feel like the tarot message is saying today. We're sort of not on the same page with, you know, maybe the direction that universe is nudging us at this point in time. It may feel a little uncomfortable. We may have, you know, deep within us, it's like we know what needs to happen, but we are kind of, like I've said, and like I said in my intro, like pitted up against our own programming today. It's like, yeah, but I don't do stuff that way. You know what I mean? It's like we're realizing that we need to make these changes and that something within us is desiring something new, but we're like, yeah, but that's not who I am. You know, I don't do things that way. I've never done things that way. I'm this way. I do things like this. And then something inside of us is like, no, but I don't want to do that like that anymore. That's not working for me anymore. And we're like, it's working just fine. You hush. You know what I mean? And so that's sort of what I feel like we're dealing with today. That's like kind of what the tarot cards, well, it is the way that I'm interpreting the tarot that came out as well. So let's draw one more card now, you guys. This is going to be our synchronicity card for today. Just a word of advice and guidance from God, Spirit, Universe to help us in whatever it is, in whatever way we need today as we are navigating this energy, which for us, you guys, is very much going to be about holding the vision of what we truly desire in our mind's eye with the faith and trust that it is coming to us. And the card that just flipped over, it's funny because I literally just said this. It says, seek the spirit. That's what we need to do today, is the spiritual work. That is the best way to use this energy. It says, there is no power but of God's, Romans 13:1. When you have a problem, become aware of the power of God to help you. There is no power but that of God. Seek the Spirit of God within you. Do not give power to others to affect you or the situation. Know that God is there for you, already solving this problem. Find joy in your heart with this knowledge. God is there for you, and there is no problem that God cannot handle. So again, if we are feeling out of balance in our own reality today, if we are feeling like what we are being called towards is just totally foreign from anything that we've experienced before, and it's just like making us maybe want to like revert back to some old tendencies or sort of like forego, you know, maybe the progress that we're making at this point in time. What we really need to do is just center down like into our faith, surrender our burdens to the divine, surrender our fears, trust the process, trust the plan, and seek the spirit, because this is also a very psychic day today. Tons of like spiritual guidance available, spiritual connecting energy, prayer, meditation, journaling, writing, creative activities. These are the things that are going to really help us to use this energy in a way that is contributing to our highest level of growth, our most rapid expansion, our most rapid awakening, and aligning us with the least obstacles to like our path going forward in a way that is helping us to get on board with these Aquarian frequencies and vibes and elevate our vibration to a place where we can start magnetizing and attracting these opportunities, these relationships, these experiences that are really bringing us that fulfillment on that soul level and giving us the true meaning and purpose in our lives. So that is what I have to say, you guys, today for the energy as it's playing out. Energy from the stars, energy from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. I hope I was able to provide something for you that can give you just a little bit of whatever you're needing to navigate your journey today. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you think that they would like this and be interested in this too. Leave me comments, you guys. I really seriously love you so much. I really appreciate your comments. Thank you all once again so much for being here. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, a website, and some other social media stuff. Those are in my description box below. And come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We're going to have more to talk about. We are building into this full moon. Energy is going to be sort of increasing and intensifying all week as we head towards the 13th, which is hosting our full moon. And I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you guys then. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Seek the spirit, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.